welcome to another edition of Kyle Meredith with. It's the interview series presented by WFPK at WFPK.org. Consequence and the Consequence Podcast Network. Thanks as always for making your way here, for checking out the series. Hit that subscribe button so you can keep up with all the episodes that we put out every single week. New one every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You can also grab us at Spotify, Apple Podcast, NPR, WFPK.org. Consequence, or of course, right here on YouTube for the video versions. Anywhere you get your podcast from, you can subscribe to Kyle Meredith with. That's me, Kyle Meredith, today catching up with my buddy E from the band Eels. They're back with a brand new record called Eels Time with an exclamation point. We'll talk about that title a little bit. We're going to talk about time, also in the very mortal way. We're going to hear about him getting open heart surgery. We'll hear about working with Tyson Ritter of All American Rejects. I think he co-wrote 5 songs on this album, Tyson and E together. We'll also get into acting a little bit. Did you know that E makes a cameo in Ant-Man 3, Jogger with Dog? You'll hear about that and a whole lot more. I love talking with them. I love their music. The new record is called Eels Time. It's Kyle Meredith with E from Eels. It is time for Eels Time, back with new music again. I know last time we were talking Extreme Witchcraft and everything, and you just keep producing quality material over and over and over. This is a great record. I should throw the compliments. As fun as I always have with this one, I really am enjoying it.
Well, thank you. That's very nice to hear. I mean, after like 30 years, I figured it's finally Eels time. Our time has finally come.
That is one of those titles, I think. Is that just one of those, like, just call it Eels Time? You know what is it?
Well, I had the song Time,
Mm-hmm.
and then I thought, oh, if I put an exclamation point on it, that's kind of a fun album title, and it'll mislead the public into thinking it's a fun party record, which the cover looks like.
Right. And then they get that song Time right from the beginning.
Right from the beginning, they're like, wait a minute, this is not what I signed up for.
This is not. That's a beautiful song, and it's a beautiful music video too. Watching that, the Gus Black directed, and it's these pictures, of course, of your father, and then of you, and of your son, and for that to set up what we're getting here. I mean, do you think of it because I don't know if you think of it kind of in a linear way as we're sort of talking about here, but even with the video in mind, like, do you consider that as sort of setting up the album and what we are getting into thematically, I guess is what I'm asking.
I mean, to me, it's just one of the songs on the album. It's, I wouldn't say it's necessarily an album about time, but then again, aren't they all? I guess they all are about time in the end, really. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that there's a overarching theme to this album. For me, it's a collection of songs about things that were on my mind.
Yeah. I mean, I think about time a lot. I also work on the radio, so time, but I think about time a lot. Maybe unhealthy.
Well, I definitely think anyone who, as you get older, it's more and more on your mind simply because there's less available to you in the future. So you're hyper aware of that,
You've actually given me one of my favorite quotes I think I've ever had in an interview, and I should have looked it up because I don't remember the verbatim, but it was something about your own demise is what lends to a lot of your creativity. And
I said that?
Yeah, some version of that, but yeah.
It sounds like I'm deep.
I'm only saying that you're proving yourself true with this opening song, I guess is.
Yeah. It's I mean, it gave me that song, so there you go.
There you go. You talked about this online, but having a big medical scare too, open heart surgery. Was
that's all?
Yeah, right. Because let's see, to repair an aneurysm in your aorta, right?
Yeah, I had to get a new aorta.
Yeah. So I mean, like, that's it is one of those things. Like, you hear people that have a big moment like that, and it's a big impact of their life. And some people it's just not. It's just something that happened, and it's a good party story, but they move past it. Like, for you, do you find that had any kind of direct big influence on these topics that you were writing about afterward?
Well, I I made this record before I had the surgery,
Mm.
but I knew that the surgery was most likely in my future, so it was on my mind. It, I mean, it was a big ordeal for me because I have zero hospital experience. I've never been in the hospital. I just, it's been a good run, and then I just figured like, well, now that it's time to do something at the hospital, let's make it a doozy. And I was in there
Oh,
for a week and had my heart stopped on the operating table, so it was pretty hardcore.
that's crazy. I mean, that's I know it happens every day, I'm sure, but that's
Yeah.
just to hear someone, verbalize it. Like that's insane. That's,
Yeah, I mean, it was a real novelty for someone who's never spent a night in the hospital.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you had this record before then, though, like, and you've like, how many records do you have that you're sitting on?
Well, I mean, I just had the surgery, not, at the end of this
Oh,
past year. So
oh, so it was okay, it was
it,
soon.
it was recent. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And I had in
Uh,
my head maybe that happened a year or two ago, and I was like, wait a second, that's a long
yeah.
time to sit on it. You're stockpiling over there.
Yeah. No, I mean, I just recovered from the surgery. It took me a couple months. So like it was quite recent.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'll further on that question though. Do you stockpile is there still a vault of songs that you can pull from when it's time for an album? Say you're writing the songs, but you're like, oh, I'm a few
Um,
short. What do I have in the past?
a little bit, but not a ton. I definitely have worked that way in the past where I would stockpile and some of the albums would be, kind of the way Prince would do things like Sign of the Times, where it was like he was pulling from all these different unreleased albums and making a new thing. And like I've done that, and I do a little bit of that from album to album sometimes. Um, but for the most part, no. Most of it is probably come out at this point. There's not like a ton of unreleased stuff.
Yeah. But there is one song on here that predates a lot of songs, if I understand right, with And You Run, or at least some version of it.
Yes, I wrote that one when I was a teenager, and I was writing tons of songs in my youth and trying to get better at it. And I was always making these 4-track demos and trying to get better at production and that kind of thing. And my childhood friend Sean, who I've known so long, his older sister used to babysit me, and we're still friends. And he lives in Dublin now. And he has a bunch of my old demos from back then, and he'll occasionally like send me one to, sometimes just to tease me because it's so bad. And in this case, I thought that's what he was doing. He was sending me another one just so I could hear how bad it was, and it was terrible. Uh, and he said, "No, I think there's something here," and I was like, "Yeah, whatever, crazy person." And then unsolicited, sometime soon after that, he sent me a version he made in his studio in Dublin, and it was gorgeous. And I was like, wow, you were right. There is something underneath that. I never would have guessed, that the bones of the song were good enough to make something nice out of. And so that's how that came about.
Yeah. So how different is it? Like, I guess I'd love to know what
Extremely,
he heard that you didn't.
extremely. Like my 4-track was just this terribly produced. I don't even know how to describe it. It had like really bad kind of like 4-on-the-floor drum machine stuff and everything. And he turned it into just this, like beautiful Brian Wilson-esque teenage symphony to God.
Are you able to connect with whatever you were writing about? Like, do you find that it might not even be important, but I feel like that would kind of be cool if you did, like that you felt a real connection to whatever you were talking about at the moment.
Yeah, I mean that's the only thing that's a little odd to me now is that it's the lyrics are the same. It's the lyrics of a teenager,
Mhm.
and it's not necessarily something well, I think the subject matter of it is, something we can all identify with being in that situation where someone is withholding from you emotionally or whatever.
Mhm. But I mean, that can't be too different than, singing Goodbye Cruel World or something from 30 years ago. I mean, I don't know if it's different for you, and I don't know how
I mean,
often.
I can just apply, the idea of And You Run I have a 6-year-old boy
Sure.
who, if I say like I love you or something, you're not going to get it back. You know, you say I love you, and he'll say okay.
Yeah. I get that one too. That's
Yeah. So, so I can still find a way to identify with my teenage lyrics.
yeah, that's fun. Mine's 16 now. And it went from I love you to you too to uh-huh. So,
Uh-huh.
uh-huh.
Noted.
Unless he wants something, then he turns it on.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's
Right, right.
there's other cool things that you're talking about you working with Tyson Ritter on this record. Tyson Ritter, All American Rejects, and which I love the story that you've told in the press about that you all didn't know each other when you were on DreamWorks together, and here you
Yeah.
are all these years later. I was a fan of his band back in the day, but what do you get from him as a songwriting partner that you didn't already have?
Well, I mean, you can hear it all over these songs. He's a huge part of them, and um, I wouldn't have guessed from hearing his band that we would be such natural collaborators. But he has this whole other side. When he asked me to collaborate on a song for a movie, I heard it. It wasn't at all what I expected, and I really clicked with it. And then I thought, like, let's make some more music, and he's you know one of my favorite collaborators now. He's really got this weird creative side.
Yeah, yeah. He's was one of those. The band had its like a lot of artists, had a spotlight moment, and then he sort of they went away, but I could tell that he was still working inside. And it's like a Greg Alexander type of a character or something like that. It's like I couldn't tell you what, but every now and then he'll pop up and it'll be something like this. And it's an always interesting collaboration. Like I don't know much about him, but I'm always impressed by these little moments like this when I see him come out, you
Yeah,
know.
he's hyper creative.
Yeah. What was the movie that you all did?
It was called Prisoner's Daughter with Brian Cox and Kate Beckinsale, and Tyson was in it also.
Right. I did see that clip that you posted about him slapping you around and the
Yeah, oh yeah, and Tyson beat me up as well. This is the first time one of my songwriter collaborators has beat me up on camera. Anyway, there's probably been a few times off camera.
I know you don't do the acting a lot, but every now and then you'll draw like how because there's what the cameo in Ant-Man 3, Jogger with Dog. Uh
Yes,
like how proactive are you with acting? Is that something that just falls into your lap or do you like
yeah, I'm not proactive at all. It just stuff that comes along once in a while. I would love to do more of it. I enjoy it because it's really fun to learn something and to like being in that show Love was a
Mhm.
great experience for me because I learned so much about acting from all the other great actors in the show.
Yeah. I
I mean,
enjoy
all the other actors were great actors, not me. I'm not saying I was a great actor. I was saying like I got better by learning from the great actors.
like do you find that like especially coming up in the music video generation of artists, like was that helpful with acting?
Um, I mean, I guess it doesn't hurt making a million videos over the years. It's obviously not the same thing. There's It's not that often that there's dialogue in our
Mm.
videos. I guess once in a while there is, but um, for the most part, uh, it's good acting for the silent movie era.
You've got to react. I've got to believe you. You've got to you've got to
Yeah,
you've got to take me out of it, right? Like I've got to
yeah.
be able to whatever. But always enjoyed those videos.
Well, I'm just hoping that the talkies go away and the silent movies come back, and then I'll be a great actor.
That's when you're gonna
Damn
turn it
talkies,
on.
you damn talkies.
Damn talkies, they're fad. That's what I
Yeah,
hear. That's what I
yeah, it's
read
not
in the
going to catch
trades.
on. Mm.
So Ant-Man 3, I mentioned that one, and there is that song "Haunted Hero" on here, which you said maybe might possibly have some inspiration there. Maybe like really though, it's like, is there any direct connection to the hero world and this song? Like, where does that come from?
I mean, that was in the back of my mind as I was just thinking about like a weird kind of fucked up superhero. Um, that was in the back of my mind when I was doing that one
Yeah.
with Tyson.
You know what? I mean, I would think most heroes, if you were a superhero, like,
I was, honestly, like
gotta be a little haunted.
I'm not into superheroes. I was trying to make a superhero interesting in my mind
Mhm.
by fucking them up.
It's like, Deadpool, I guess. Again, I have a kid as well, and he grew up in use that word again, but the Marvel generation, like that was just part of the DNA of that class of youth. So I've seen it, and I share your. One time I told him, and this is when I knew he started, coming into his own because he was talking about the new one, and I said, you know what's going to happen, right? Like, you know how this whole movie is going to play out. Like it's the same script. It's
Yeah.
just different, different
Right.
costumes or whatever. But it's exactly like a pro wrestling match. They use the same thing. The good guy's winning, the good guy's
Right.
winning. Oh no, the good guy's losing, and then the good guy comes back at the end.
Right.
And
Right.
he just looks at me and goes, "Dad, don't ruin my childhood."
Yeah, what are you thinking, man?
But you're so made me think that's like if you were a superhero, you're probably haunted. Like you're probably haunted. Like Captain America is probably haunted, because you've got to be a
Right.
little
Like
messed up.
anyone who's that motivated,
Right.
you know. Yeah.
That kind of thing. It's such a good little record. The dreamy mood of we won't see her like again. Goldie. Was there anything specific that inspired the furries line?
That's Tyson's line. Don't blame me. Tyson is one of the only collaborators that I actually collaborate with some of the lyrics too.
Oh,
Like
okay.
my usual collaborators over the years, I always do all the lyrics.
Hmm.
But this is a rare case where he was very collaborative on some of the lyrics.
Yeah, that's a fun one right there. It's too bad. I would have enjoyed.
Yeah, no, I have no furry experience. Uh, yeah, so
Yeah.
far. Yeah,
So far, right.
yeah,
Lay with the Lambs, which is an interesting because you were talking about the album in a non-linear way thematically, but
yeah.
it feels like bookends to me with Time and Lay with the Lambs because Lay with the Lambs to me is one of these like, and this is just how I took it in, but it's like, what if nothing? What if is this all there is? As the old song goes, that's
Right,
and like when you start on one thing and end
right.
here, it's that
Well,
beautiful darkness that I love from you.
Lay with the Lambs is a little bit of an odd one because um, that was the second song that I collaborated with Tyson on, and it in our mind we were working on another song for the movie
Mhm.
at the time, and so they used an Eel song in the movie to kind of be Brian Cox's character's theme song. And so I was thinking with this song Lay with the Lambs, this could be Tyson's character's theme song was the original idea. And that's why it's so dark, is because he's like a meth head. He's Kate Beckinsale's ex-husband. He's not a great guy. And that's why the lyric is so dark and what it is. But then I decided I liked it so much I decided to hijack it and make it an Eel song. So but it's definitely not like an autobiographical thing about, how I'm feeling in life right now.
I mean, that's good, but it
I mean,
still
there's definitely
works.
been times when I have felt like that, so I can
Sure.
identify with it, but it's not where I'm at now.
Yeah. I'm just saying, as a piece of art, as a piece of work, it works nicely in the context. That's where I'm coming from on that one.
Okay, great. I'm glad to hear that.
Even by complete accident, it works really nicely in the context.
Well,
Well,
great. I'll take
which
it.
which which ill song did they use?
It was a new one called Man, I Keep Trying.
Okay. It was in my head, I just instantly started cycling through. It's like, ooh, I wonder what I would use.
I believe that's on the streamers, I think. Oh no, it's on we put it on our best of that just came out around Christmas time.
Right.
Uh Eel So Good, the
Hmm. That was a
Central
good
Eels.
Christmas song too, by the way. Um,
Oh, thank you.
yeah,
Thanks.
we played that
Yeah.
a lot. We here at
Yeah.
FPK, we played that a lot during the holiday.
Yeah. Every artist worth his salt should have three Christmas songs in his catalog,
Christmas
and
song.
took me this long to get the third one.
Yeah, and let me tell you, we like you, you're all the other two songs, like those are standards for us. Every year they get like they are Christmas classics.
I was very excited to see that Elton John played it on his yearly Christmas playlist this year.
Nice.
Yeah,
Hopefully that does good for the mailbox money. Helps out a little bit at least.
a little probably. Yeah.
Eels time. This is a great record, and it's always a pleasure talking to you, E. Seriously, thank you so much for taking the time again.
Thanks, likewise, and I'll talk to you next time, I hope.
And thanks to my guest. Also, thanks to you for checking out the episode in the series. Before you get out of here, hit that subscribe button. Again, you get 3 brand new interviews every single week, new one every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at right here on YouTube, or of course anywhere in podcast land, including iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podchaser, NPR, or WFPK.org as well. A great way to keep up with your favorite artists and discover new ones as well. Then after that, actually head over to WFPK.org. That's where I do a show Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern. It's an hour full of song premieres, music news, anniversary spins, bonus interviews, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern at WFPK.org. Consequence has your music and film news. You can also find me on the social media spots, Facebook, Instagram, mostly on Twitter. All 3 of them, the address is at Kyle Meredith. Do hope you like and follow along. That does it for another edition. I'm Kyle Meredith. I'll see you next time.